Definitely a way long overdue video. So, first I'll just jump right into it. First, I want to thank you all for your patience and understanding, because it's been quite a while. It's been a really rocky road for myself in the last several months, uh, but I am doing much better now. Things are um, getting kind of somewhat back to normal, but of course we know with everything going on in the world, it's not what is normal, right? But um, so just for those real briefly, quick update about everything. If you haven't watched my last video, um, my mom, dad, and I last September 2021, we all had got sick with the virus, and my dad had gone into a medically induced coma. My mom, a few days later, had to be admitted to the hospital here. And then on September 26th, she died. I was kind of handling everything because at that time my dad was in a coma and I had family thank God for my family, extended family that were helping, my mom's sisters and friends, neighbors. So I'm very grateful for that. So it was a very, very traumatic, very difficult time. Uh, Very unexpected, obviously. No one expects something like this to happen. And then when it does, it kind of catches you off guard. So, uh, that being said, my dad is doing really good. He got out of the hospital first part of October, went into a nursing facility up here, and went through a little bit of physical therapy, but the insurance company basically cut off the coverage, so he couldn't even walk at that point yet. So I worked, they had home health, like physical therapy coming in twice a week, basically, is what all it was, to work with him on doing some exercises and stuff. But he did a lot on his own, and I helped him. I helped him a lot too. So we kind of worked together, and I had to pretty much take care of him because he couldn't walk. He couldn't feed himself at first when he got home. So I was doing all that, he had to use a bedpan, everything. I mean, everything. So there was a lot of work involved, but I just kind of dug in. You do what you do, and but very grateful. We're both doing well. He has been on an exercise program with myself 5 days a week, uh, lifting weights and getting on the treadmill, doing some cardio. So we're both kind of doing that. Um, and he's doing well. He has some eye issues that they discovered, uh, scratches on his cornea, but other than that, it's been crazy, to say the least. So I am glad to kind of get back to this a little bit of back to somewhat of normal, right? Um, so that's kind of how my story went for the last few weeks. I want to just kind of update people on that, just to give them a little bit of background, what's been going on, why I've been missing. Um, and this video that I'm going to do now today is probably one of the most important videos that I've ever done. And I will explain. I titled it Past Changes Future. So I will kind of give you a little bit of history. I want to break things down a little bit. Of course, I always say I don't want to make it too long, but I'll do my best to keep it under 20 minutes. But so just to give you a quick background of the history of this planet. The Earth, or Terra, which is Terra, and many of you probably have heard of that, is from the future. Okay, so what happened was we were existing in the future. There was a group of Terrans here. They're a higher dimensional. Okay, they were fifth dimension, actually higher than fifth dimension. I believe they were sixth or seventh dimension. And because some of the decisions that they had made at that level were inhibiting their growth and their evolution spiritually. And so they were at the point of where the society could collapse and they could become non-existent. So if you don't, if a society or a civilization doesn't evolve in a spiritual sense beyond a certain point and they kind of reach a plateau and they don't move forward, that society can become extinct basically, because it's important to evolve with by making decisions, by creating um, challenges for oneself to move through different steps of the evolutionary process. So that was a problem. So Creator had kind of came to set forth to offer a solution to this planet. Creator offered to allow the Terrans, the council of this Earth, to go back into a past timeline, which is where we are right now. So Earth was put back into a past timeline, and it was allowed to, because of that, the density was lowered. The reason it was lowered, it was to create challenges to for this planet to evolve beyond where they were. Okay, to continue. So, and challenges are what are they? What these challenges were duality. These challenges were taking responsibility for our own actions that we create. Okay, so those are the challenges. That's the way through evolution to evolve on a spiritual basis. What can you take from what you've learned? So it's dealing with the consequences of our actions. Um, and that's why there's been a non-interference clause on this planet, because the whole purpose of this past timeline was to create a well, not really learning experience, but more of an experience to evolve, to move beyond these challenges and what you have taken from these challenges. Okay, so if you when you ask yourself, okay, I did this, this is what was the result of my actions. What did I accomplish from this? What did I take back from this? What did I learn from this? You could say, if you want. So that's the whole purpose of this. Now, back in this time, though, during the council of this Terrans in the future, okay, we're going to go jump back to the future, were warned, basically, were given a warning kind of from Creator saying, okay, you have an option to limit the negativity of this planet. And they, at that time, the council said, no, we're just going to allow it to whatever happens, happens. Well, bingo, where are we at now? It is, I think they had somewhere around 60-some% negativity and the rest was positivity on this planet. So it's, and if you look in the last 2 years, it's kind of feels like it's gotten worse, right? So that is what happened. They were told and they just let it go because there was originally going to be a cap of like 15%, 20% negativity on this planet. So you could learn, it would have been at a kind of more of a slower pace. But then the planet wouldn't have that problem of destroying itself because the negativity couldn't get past a certain limit, right? Couldn't get there, that the universal law would not allow the negativity, the negative energy, or negative beings the energy would have been too high for the negativity to exist beyond 15%, if that makes sense. So that was originally what was supposed to happen. Well, they did not listen to that warning and they just let it go. And now this is where we are today. So what happened was, of course, many negative beings have come here. There have been many, as we know. There have been negative factions of the gray or zetas sometimes. Now, I always want to clarify, there are zetas that were of the past that were negative, okay? And there's also reptilian factions that are negative, but there are positive, okay? So there's always positive and negative of each race. Um, so what happened was back in the, oh boy, I'm trying to think when it was, 50s, 40s, the negative, I'll call them the sinister secret government, the SSG, the negative government, shadow government, had gotten hold of or given a ship, what was like a time portal. They used this to change the future. They did this on purpose because they were trying to create a negative timeline permanently for this planet. Uh, what happened was back in the early 1970s when Richard Nixon was never supposed to be president. There was another guy that actually was a given presidency, and we had all lived. I think the timeline went up through 1990s, early 90s, and it was a beautiful timeline for this planet. It was going very positive. Things were accelerating at a peaceful rate. The negative government took this time machine portal and used it to go back in time, and they eliminated the president that would have been the one that helped create a world peace for this country. They removed him. They took him out of the timeline. Therefore, what happened was the timeline was changed. Now, they've done this many times. They've changed little things, and that's happened. The technology was taken away from them, so they obviously cannot do that anymore. But it created a lot of negative timelines, and negative events happened on this planet. So when that happens, that positive years that you had experienced are erased out of your mind. They're just totally erased. It'll be in your subconscious. So you may have dreams of, for example, you may have dreams of where you see yourself in the current timeline with different people, and it's a very different experience. You may have dreams. I've had many dreams like that. And I always was curious, well, what am I doing? Where is this coming from? Those are timelines that you would have had, okay? So I hope that makes sense. But a lot of this is, and the purpose of them doing this is to create a negative permanent timeline for this planet. So they wanted that control. They wanted to take over this planet. So that is what happened, okay? Now, I can give my own personal experience. Back in 2014, I was channeling a lot. I mean, I was channeling every day, and I have probably 500, almost 600 typed pages of channelings. And a lot of it I've talked about in there is happening now. They've told me back then what things to expect. Like we're seeing this violence and things that are happening, the earth shift, the changes in the planet, a lot of things happening. So between 2014 and 2016, I was doing a lot of channeling. I had a spiritual group in Wisconsin. I was very involved in that. I felt really good. It felt like a very positive experience for me. And then 2016, everything changed, and it's like things were just abruptly ended. So the way I understood it, there was one other timeline shift that happened back then, where they had that technology yet, but then after that it was taken away. So I can't verify that obviously, but all I know is I've talked to other people that had similar experiences. In 2016, things really shifted. My dad had gotten heart problems. Then in 2017, he had a major heart attack, and he had to have open heart surgery, and he went through that. And then in 2018, at the end of that year, my brother committed suicide. My dad went into a coma at that time from sepsis. And then fast forward to 2021, my mom died. My dad went into coma again. It was just, this is just my personal experiences, but it's been very difficult in the last several years, for me at least. And for all of us in the last 2 years alone has been very, very difficult one way or the other. So something had shifted. I can't verify it, but I can say that I believe it did. But that's just, my belief. You have to take your own discernment from this information that I provide here, and see if it resonates with you and yourself. So the past changes the future. Okay, so what's happening is we are all from the future. We came back and we decided to incarnate. Many of us had volunteered to be our star seeds, to come here to help this planet to move forward in its evolution, so it could become that when it moves back into the future and this past timeline is ended, it'll be pushed up to fifth dimension. Okay, that's what's going to happen, and it will be back where it was before, but everything will have changed, because anything you do in the past is going to change the future, always. So all these experiences every single one of us is going through right now is changing our future. So when we go back to that future, we are going to be obviously different. We're going to have different experiences that we've had on this planet. It's going to change who we are in the future. Okay, so the future you, before you came here, it was different. You're going to be different when you go back. That's why, and hopefully in a positive way, something that's going to really accelerate your own growth spiritually, okay, and your own evolution. Now, that's why it's so important, this video, is because everything you're doing right now, everything you're experiencing in this lifetime or your prior lifetimes on this planet and this past timeline is going to influence your future self, who you will be when you go back into the future. Okay, that is going to be very important for each of us to make the decisions that we're supposed to. Now, I'm not saying, you have to be cautious and not do anything, right? Not make any kind of decision. You got to live your life. Everybody has to live what you feel is best, but live from the heart. Live from your heart frequency. Ask how this decision is going to resonate within your heart. Does it feel right? Does it feel like it's true to you? If not, then don't do it. Okay. That's what's important. Okay, so if you feel that it's going to benefit you in your heart frequency, then by all means, do that. So that's how you kind of judge the decisions. So whatever you're decided, whatever you've done, is going to change who you are when you go back. You're going to be a different person, period. Now, people may say, whoa, what about my, well, what if I have a divine complement or a twin flame that's on the other side from the future that is guiding me? And is that going to change that? Yes, it could. So more than likely, though, you will be guided by your spirit guides, guided by let's say you have a twin flame that's guiding you from the future, or you have a divine complement, whatever it is, you're being guided. That's why you have guides here, which is so important to guide you and keep you on your path, so you don't change something so drastically that your future self is totally, completely different, where you devolved, where you kind of went backwards. Okay, so that's why it's so important for whatever you decide to do now is going to change who you are in the future. When you go back, you'll be a different. So that was definitely one of the risks that were one of the biggest risks that we all took when we decided to incarnate here in this past Earth. And that's why you're seeing a lot of the negative beings trying to infiltrate this planet, because they know that truth. They know that if they can change this, they will change the way the universe is in the future, going back when we go back to the future. But the key here is, and this is the big thing, this is really important. What we are doing right now is we are uncreating the darkness, the negativity out of this universe right now. Basically, Earth has gotten all the accumulation of all the karma that has never been resolved on all the other planets in this universe. Yeah, that was never explained to many of us, but we are taking on all that karma from other races that have not dealt with it. That's why we have all these galactic beings here supporting us and helping us as much as they can from the sidelines. So what we're doing is we're solving all this karma, which uncreates that darkness, that removes it from this universe, because it doesn't belong in this universe. It was never in this universe, probably I would say trillions of years ago. It was never here. Whatever, I don't know if it trillions of years ago, but an uncountable number, okay? And so what happens is that darkness will just be uncreated. It's like when they uncreate the timeline, they change the future. That's the same thing. They're changing that outcome, what would have been, when they remove that positive timeline, right? The negative, remove that positive timeline. That's the same thing. We're uncreating them. And that's why it's such a battle right now on this planet, that it's such a, how important it is for whatever decisions we do, how we will affect the future of this universe. It's not just this planet, but really of this universe. Because many of us are from different races, many of us are from different civilizations in this universe, and what you do can affect your civilization totally, completely. So I hope that gives you some insight on this, and that's why I wanted to really, I know it's been 2 or 3 weeks since I did that quick video saying I'm still here, I haven't disappeared, and that I would be working on a new video, but I wanted to really put together and think about what I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it in this video, because it is very important. I hope that makes sense for everyone. I hope this, if you have questions, please reach out. I'm here to answer any questions. If this doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. You can take it as it is. I don't get offended. Everybody has to have their own beliefs. Our beliefs create our own reality. It does. Anything we believe, if we believe we will ascend in a certain way, if we believe whatever's going to happen will happen, it will. So I think people have to realize that, granted, we're all on this like in a collective way, as a collective, but we each have our own individual paths that we have to recognize as well. And that if something somebody says doesn't resonate, then you have to find your own path. But the ultimate is what you decide to do with your path going forward, if that makes sense. So you can, once this timeline has ended, that you will be on the path that you want to be on. So we each have to control, we each have that control. It's just what we do with it is what matters. So again, I hope this made sense to you. Please subscribe if you haven't. Like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Please leave a comment. I'm grateful. Please share this video. I'm appreciative. I'm not on Facebook. I haven't been on Facebook for 2 years. I don't have any desire. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on any of the other ones. I'm only use YouTube here. You can reach me through Facebook Messenger. I am on Messenger. Otherwise, I can put a link to my email in the description box. And please reach out. I'm grateful. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. I appreciate it. If you have any other topics you want to be discussed, I'm happy to try and discuss them. And maybe I can do some channeling for that. I do have one more thing I do want to finish up my other experiences. I've had a few other experiences with ETs and UFOs and that, and I'm going to do that video, which was by far, I saved the experiences for that video, the last one, part 3 of it, I believe, is some of the most extravagant experiences I've ever had. Remarkable, unbelievable. So anyway, I'm reached enough here. So love you all. God bless you. Talk to you later.